are we going to just sit back and let everyone call zero waste whatever they want? What's the answer to that? No! Okay, so we got to figure out how to beat this back, and we need to figure out what is the brand. And if you look at what is zero waste language out there, there's lots of visuals of what zero waste is. But it's all about describing zero waste. There hasn't been an effort to brand it. Someone mentioned that it would have been great if in the early days we had copyrighted it. And in fact, in Canada, AT&T's equivalent did copyright zero waste, and that's why Target Zero Canada was created, because they couldn't call themselves Zero Waste Canada back in the 90s. But we didn't do that in the US. I don't know if it's been done elsewhere around the world. So one of the first premises is our brand is R3. This is something that everyone knows everywhere around the world: reduce, reuse, recycle. From the beginning in California, we said that zero waste is reduce, reuse, recycle, but it's focusing first on reducing and reusing, and then recycling and composting the rest. And so we need to take back that brand, because that is the brand that is ours, and if we were really reducing, reusing, and recycling, we would be at zero waste or darn close. But there is only one peer-reviewed, internationally accepted definition of zero waste. There's not a lot of definitions. There's only one real definition. This is it. It's posted on the Zero Waste International Alliance website, zwia.org, and every one of you needs to go back home and make sure that wherever you go, you use this definition, and you encourage everyone else to use this definition. You can describe zero waste like I just did as reduce, reuse, recycle, and do an elevator speech and describe it in different ways. But there's only one definition in the world. And if we don't hang together on this, we'll hang separately. The key parts are that all discarded materials are designed to become resources for others to use. We don't want to burn or bury them, and we're for zero air, water, and land emissions as part of the definition of what we're striving for with zero waste. In addition to the definition, Zero Waste International Alliance has developed principles to help businesses and communities evaluate how to achieve zero waste and achieve the goal as defined in the ZWIA definition. The Zero Waste Global Principles for Zero Waste Communities was adopted about a year or two ago that has 14 key elements to it. There's lots of detail and narrative describing what each of those is about, but the principles are key pieces of getting to zero for communities that are based on what we've seen happen around the world. We've looked at what are the commonalities so that everyone could use this basically as a checklist of how to proceed to achieve zero waste in their community. Similarly, zero waste business principles we adopted earlier, back in 2005, 2006. There are 10 principles. There's one that we've really stressed over all the others: 90% diversion of waste from landfills and incineration, number 3. And businesses that have achieved that 90% diversion are the ones that we ask to speak at zero waste conferences and highlight what they have done and how they've achieved it. A new component of what we're working on over this next year is looking at a hierarchy of highest and best uses. If you Google or research the concept of highest and best use, you'll find that it's a well-defined term in real estate, but not in resource management, not in solid waste management. And so what we need to do is define the term. Basically, it's saying end subsidies for wasting, take back, clean production, reduce, reuse, recycle, regulate, and what's not okay is incineration and current status of landfills. Why is this important? Well, we need to define our acceptable technologies, measurable outcomes, who we are and what we want. And some say that zero waste has many definitions, and we need to say there's only one peer-reviewed, internationally accepted definition of zero waste, and that is from where? ZWIA. ZWIA. And what's the website? ZWIA. That's right. Gandhi said, first they laugh at you, then they ignore you, then they get mad at you, then they join you. Well, what's happened is this year, they're not only joining us, they're trying to co-opt and take our message that we've worked for 15 or 20 years to develop. And are we going to let them do that? No. Okay. So we need to fight for the brand. We need to adopt this WIA definition, our goals and our plans, for business plans, for community zero waste plans, included in sustainability and climate change plans. Wherever you're defining what you're striving for, we need to reference this WIA definition. We're going to have a dialogue in Toronto, May 6 to 9, tentatively in 2012. The focus of that will be looking at what are existing certification programs for zero waste. The Zero Waste International Alliance is working on setting up certification for zero waste communities, businesses, facilities, events, certification programs, and professionals in the field. And we'll be looking at what are the existing programs out there and models from other certification activities like the LEED program and other types of certification to build on and figure out what is the appropriate role for us to work on together at the international level, the national level, the regional and state level, and beyond. The ZWIA website already, in order to join the listserv at ZWIA, you must agree to the ZWIA standards. So we have that embedded in the ZWIA website. And that was there so that if people started to debate and try and promote incineration on the listserv, they would be thrown off. And we would just say, hey, you signed on that you agree with their principles. That ain't one of them. So the end question is, if you're not for zero waste, how much waste are you for? And we always say how Mike Peperian at the first international dialogue of ZWIA in San Francisco turned that around and asked the crowd and asked, how much waste are you for? And what was the answer? 0.